During the maintenance on an M6 Avalanche, of course, one of the functions that it had to be done, it is greasing the unit. That will be greasing a lot of pivot points and bearings for the conveyor and the main broom. However, in order to do so, the hopper is going to have to be lifted up in order to be able to access the pivot points on the scissor lift. So for the mechanic's convenience, of course, even though the greasing points and the areas where you're supposed to grease are located in the manual that is provided with the sweeper, in the right rear door of the truck body, there is a schematic, a drawing, and a detailed explanation where the greasing points are located at. So this is just for the convenience of the mechanic. Okay, so we're starting with the greasing points of the M6 Avalanche, and the first thing that we're going to point is the pivot. The pivot of the dump door has got two greasing points. So there's one here and one on the opposite side right here. Okay. The next thing below, of course, is the pivot points for the pivot pins for the hopper. There is one here, one there, and these two here. So these actually grease from the inside, so you have to go on the inside to grease these points right here. Okay, so as we move forward further down, every pivot point on the scissor lift has a grease fitting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys what you need to use in order to grease all these pivot points. All you need is a manual greasing gun. Do not use a air power greasing gun, simply because they put way too much grease into the pivots. And all you need is about maybe 1.5 or two pumps on the greasing gun. And of course on the other side as well. And that's pretty much what you have. Now always remember, if there's no grease going into the pins, that means that the grease is not going into the pin. So therefore, it is possible that the grease fitting is faulty, or for that matter, the pin is stuck and is not taking grease. Now, we'll go further below, of course. There's two greasing points right here, one on this side and one on this side right here for the lower pivot of the scissor lift. Also, they are greasing points in the middle of the scissor, and also in the middle of the scissor here. And of course, those are on the inside as well. As we're moving to the driver's side of the sweeper, of course, we're going to pinpoint the greasing points on this side as well. And we have two greasing points right in the middle, as I said just a little while ago. One here and one right there. And of course, we do have the greasing points here and here. These two. Now there are four greasing points. Of course, they're kind of not easy to get to. So I'm going to make sure that you guys understand how to get to those greasing points. Now, there are four pivots on the scissor lift slide blocks, which are two at the bottom and two on the top. And this will be right here and right here. So in order to grease those fittings, of course, the scissor lift is going to have to be positioned to where the grease fitting is actually right in between this slot right here. And I'm going to put my finger right through so you can actually see where the grease fitting is actually located in. So right there. There is a slotted hole right there to where when the slide blocks come back, they're supposed to be positioned about halfway into that slot. The same thing on this side. And of course, when that is actually correct, the top ones are correct as well. So what that means that you're going to have to put the grease gun right in here, just like this, inside, and grease this, this pivot point right there. And of course, here, on this side as well. Now, on the top, of course, on the top there is a slotted hole on here, on this side, and there is a slotted hole on this side as well. It's right there. In that situation, definitely you're going to need a ladder to get up there without, and as I said earlier, on the safety work on this machine to make sure that you do not work on this on the scissor lift assembly without being safe. So therefore, a ladder will be a lot more safer than just by walking around here. So therefore, the grease gun is going to have to be going right through both of these frames here in order to get to that greasing point. So greasing all the pivot points, of course, is probably will take once a month greasing those. However, there are 6 greasing points that actually have to be greased every day, and that will be the bearings. There are 4 bearings on the conveyor, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and two bearings on the main broom. Those will have to be greased every day. Now, the M6 Avalanche actually comes with different types of grease apparatus. This machine over here, of course, is the standard to where it does not have any auto greaser whatsoever. The second option is to have remote grease fittings that they're actually located on this side of the structure here, and the grease fittings are actually positioned into the panel, and you can grease the bearings from right here. Also, we do have another option to where you can actually grease you can actually use an auto greaser, SKF auto greaser that actually does that by itself automatically. The only thing, of course, you have to do is replace the grease every so often. So once the standard unit is like this, of course, we're going to have to do that by hand, as I showed you guys earlier. So therefore, the grease fittings on the bearings, you can actually see it right here. They are located on each bearing. There is one right here. There is one on the opposite side and 2 at the bottom shaft of the grease of the conveyor. So once it's positioned there, oops. All you need is 1 pump and a half, and that should be enough. And that has to be done every day. You should not use the air power gun, simply because those bearings are actually seal bearings, and if the seals are actually bust, therefore the bearings are actually useless after that. The lower shaft conveyor bearings, of course, we have one on this side right here, and one on the opposite side, and of course we have the 2 bearings for the main broom, which is one on this side here and one on this side here. And last but not least, we have 2 grease fittings that actually grease the pivot points of the lift of the conveyor, which is one in the front here, one in the front right here, and one on the opposite side, left-hand side right here.